My dear friends and family, I'm so proud to stand before you today to commemorate an extraordinary person, my mother, Mary Ann Fischer. I think many of us have marveled at her perseverance. My wife, Kim, calls Mom the comeback kid. I always call her the bullet guy. Mary Ann Fischer was able to touch all of us with her ability to face a devastating diagnosis and then say, okay, I can still have lunch with my girlfriend next Tuesday. I want this to be a tribute to Mary Ann, hopefully with a lot more humor than you normally hear in Eulogy. She'd want it that way. You see, I'm very sad to see her leave this earth, but I'm also happy knowing she lived a very complete life, surrounded by family and friends. My mother followed the path she trusted in her gut, yet her quick wit and unflappable, bubbly nature allowed her to build a strong support system consisting of physicians, clergy, and countless friends alongside her beloved siblings that kept her going against all odds. She grabbed life by the horns and did what she loved. That's the theme of what I want to convey to you today. Mom was born on February 26, 1941, mere months before our nation was engulfed in the Second World War. And mind you that rationing was going on during these years. Our nation was just out of the Depression. She even knew how to darn socks. As the seventh of 11, you heard right, 11 brothers and sisters, she had to compete for everything. This was a rich family, but not by financial standards at all. Her house on 77 Crawford Street had one bathroom in their home. With such a large family, can you imagine? Although privacy was likely lacking, this was a family filled with love. Love for God, love for each other, love for get-togethers and extended families, punctuated by her mother's cooking and euchre tournaments. A brunch often led to a barbecue to chip and dip with happy hour. Mom loved her games and a loud night of fun with her family members. I've never heard this story told before, except for Deacon Dan at a Kinski Eulogy, so if I may expand on it a bit, imagine a beautiful late summer evening, a tiny town deep in the Adirondack Mountains. The area is so remote that the Milky Way is visible in the night sky. And suddenly, this majestic tranquility was shattered by a cacophonous roar. The Kinski clan were rolling a full-size piano across New York State Highway 28 from a dive bar to another restaurant that was still open so that Mary Ann and her dear brother John could strike the keys for another hour or so. The family was indeed rich with life. It kept her going through a dizzying array of challenges. Some of you may know that Mom was once famous for 15 minutes. She was in dozens of newspapers when John and I were born, as she was the first one to carry and deliver twins after having received a kidney transplant. Many knew she was encouraged to end her early pregnancy when doctors found out it was twins. She knew the extensive risks to her health and said it was well worth the risk, that doctors were too cautious at times and didn't know how to take a chance once in a while. Now, I, for one, am thankful she took that chance. Mom faced health challenges that could take an hour to review in this eulogy. There could be a course on her perseverance in medical school. After being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes on Halloween in 1950, she had to dramatically change her life at the age of 9. Most kids have a parent looking after them well into her teen years. While she had terrific parents, Mom had to take care of and advocate for herself to a large extent. After all, there were so many children in the household as well. This sort of a pattern of self-reliance, I think, caused her to live such a full and enriching life. Her cousin introduced him to a fellow named Joe when she was 29. Her older brother Dave knew him to be a great man who worked at Xerox, was a happy bachelor, and liked to play baseball with friends and go out for a garbage plate. He was uncomplicated, and she loved that about him. They quickly and deeply fell in love. Dad will confess to anyone that she swept him off his feet, becoming engaged in 6 months and then married in another 6 weeks on February 12, 1971. It was a terrible snowstorm on a Friday evening, but from what I heard, a great party. Mom was a public servant in her community in the state of New York. As a teen, she felt a calling to teach and to help. Majoring in speech therapy, she helped many students who faced challenges at home, listened to their stories, and grew as a person. When she relocated to the Washington, D.C. area in 1971 with Dad, she attended GW to finish her master's degree and continued to teach. Health problems then began in earnest. Her eyesight deteriorated in 1973, was partially restored in one eye with a then experimental therapy. Imagine the challenges that lay ahead. Mom had to have dialysis every few days just to stay alive. It's from these dark times we saw brightness emerge from two selfless acts. Her brothers, Steve and John, our namesakes, volunteered to donate a kidney, knowing it could have only provided her with a few more years at most. I'm happy to report that her brother's John's kidney is 89 years old and functioned perfectly for this woman, almost 50 years until the day she passed. As a mother, she advocated for John and me. I'll tell you a quick story about this. One summer day, when we were about 10, our mother clipped a coupon for a buy one, get one Frosties at the Wendy's down here. John and I walked down the hill very excited to present this to the manager. Well, the manager emerged to tell us they weren't a participating location. We upped the ante and told this man to call our house and take it up with our mother. The manager emerged a few minutes later from the back, stone-faced, with 2 Frosties and an apology. Evidently, they were a participating location. Must have slipped his mind. We learned about the give and take of a strong marriage by watching Mom and Dad. Despite limited eyesight, Mom made great meals for the family, and as a teacher, helped us with our homework so our father could have more time to play with us after a long day. She frequently looked the other way when we overcooked the meat on the grill. She would get excited about Joe's garden and devise great ideas for a seemingly unlimited supply of tomatoes every July. After retirement, Mom insisted they travel a lot more while they were still fit. They visited Alaska, California, Ireland, and several Mediterranean countries in Europe and Africa. As a friend, Mom was a jokester. She loved injecting the humor into most anything, but let's be real, most of them were growers. Darn, I banged my toe. I'll let toe drop. Is your dentist appointment at 2:30? Now, when we impaired vision, we think she would have never been considered a technologist. But most of us know that our dear mother was an avid online gamer. She played word games extensively. They kept her going largely through the pandemic while she had to be cautious about interactions with loved ones. Words with friends, word chums too. She was a formidable opponent. I think that Mom inspired us. A person who lived to 80 that by all accounts of several medical professionals, and 12 documented, likely would not have lived to 40 given her donated kidney. What drove this? Faith in God for sure. She and Dad have been active parishioners at Blessed Sacrament since moving to the area. Guts. Knowing that advocating for yourself is a key component of survival on this earth. And being kind while relying on the kindness of others. In her later life, Mom volunteered a great deal for the Inova Board of Lady Managers, an interfaith organization which raised money for the hospital system. She taught us that small acts of kindness add up and provide an invaluable glimpse into what experiencing heaven truly is. The joy that we feel in these acts of kindness means that Christ is alive in us. That the lasting gift that the lifelong teacher, Marianne, gave each of us, learning that kindness was the easiest way to receive God's grace. A tiny bit of salvation here and there. Inspiration to get out there and focus on your health, and to face challenges and setbacks with courage. And for crying out loud, to have fun. Call a friend and talk. Play games. Go out for that way. Especially say a prayer of thanks before you go to sleep, that you do that all over again tomorrow. You see, life is an incredible gift, and Mom knew this all too well. She enjoyed every minute because she was programmed to. So few of us take moments to reflect, give thanks, and comprehend this. It was this wisdom that caused her to risk everything to bear children, to have the guts to defy some doctors, and to seek out ones that would devote their entire careers to helping her lead a normal life, and to recognize that people in need of any type of help are more than likely those who can enjoy the gift of life that much more. May we all remember her for the rest of our days as a great example of how to live an exceptional life.